street corner in Morocco has a kiosk, and these are very small kiosks. And when I say small, I mean hole in the wall small, but they have everything. You want yeast, they have it. You want SIM cards, they have them. You want a husband or a wife, they'll probably have them too. The point is, really early in the morning, around 6 a.m., they receive fresh baguettes. These are not the traditional French baguettes. These are very thin crusted, very crunchy, with a very soft crumb, and that's what we're trying to do today.
Another interesting thing about this type of baguette is that Vietnam, which is another ex-French colony, has it too. If you ever had a banh mi before, you know what I'm talking about. So we start with 500 grams or 1.1 pounds of all-purpose flour, 260 grams or 9.17 ounces of regular tap water, 1 medium egg, which is roughly 54 grams or 1.9 ounces, 9 grams or 0.32 ounces of instant yeast, 6 grams or 0.21 ounces of sugar, 8 grams or 0.28 ounces of salt, and finally 15 grams or 0.53 ounces of olive oil. In a stand mixer bowl, add your flour, sugar, yeast, and then give it a quick whisk. Then add your salt and whisk again. The thing is, we try to avoid that the salt and the yeast come into direct contact. Get your machine going at low speed, then add the eggs and the olive oil. Then add your water. Mix until you get a dough ball, and then increase the speed to medium and run it for 15 minutes. Grease your work surface and then transfer your dough into it or onto it. This is not a grammar class, so stretch your dough and then fold it in. Pinch it in, flip it, and rotate it against the surface with both hands. Now gently fold it into itself for a couple of times. The dough should be elastic enough to smoothly fold and it should not be sticky at all. And so that I don't have to clean one more dish, I just grease the stand mixer bowl and use it again. Just make sure you cover it with a plastic wrap. Let your dough rise for 1 hour in a turned off oven with lights on. I'm using a baguette tray for this recipe because I'm weirdly nostalgic about the tiny knobs that form in the bottom, but also because they make for perfectly shaped baguettes. If you don't have one or don't want to give your money to Jeff Bezos just yet, use a linen cloth like this one. Just make sure you cover it in flour and you put the baguettes right next to one another so that they rise up and not sideways. And of course, if you're gonna use the baguette tray, make sure to grease it. After the first rise, transfer it back into a greased work surface. Cut it into 6 equal triangles. Use the scale to verify. And what comes next is very important. So take each triangle and hold 2 ends of it, each with one hand, and then throw the loose end forward, slapping it into the counter. And then with your hands, stretch out the edges to make them thinner. And now go to the pointy end and roll it back, but press the edges after each roll. This will trap the air in each layer of the dough and will give us an amazing rise. Seal the last layer by pinching it shut. And then gently roll the dough against the surface. Do not stretch the dough, just roll it a couple of times and move it to the tray. Grease the surface of the mini baguettes and cover them with a towel. Just make sure that it's a light towel so that they don't get smothered, because just like humans, they need some space to grow. Leave them on the counter for anything between 1.5 hours to 3 hours, depending on how warm your kitchen is. They will cook at 210 Celsius or 410 Fahrenheit, heat up and down with no fan for 35 minutes. Also make sure you set a bowl or a pan at the bottom of the oven while it's preheating. When they are properly proofed, this is what your Petit Baguettes should look like. Now coat a blade or a very sharp knife with a little bit of oil and then score them from side to side and then spray them with water. When your oven is ready, put the baguettes in the lower rack and add an empty tray in the top rack. Fill up the bowl with boiling hot water and close the door. You need to spray them with water each 2 minutes for the first 15 minutes of the baking process. We are creating a little steam chamber where they are not exposed to direct heat and their surface is going to remain cool, and that will allow for a big oven spring, and later when the moisture dries out, it will create a very crunchy crust. After 15 minutes, remove the water tray and the empty tray, rotate the baguettes and let them bake for another 15 minutes. For the last 5 minutes, flip them and let them cook on the other side. Once they're done, let them cool down on a wide rack, and that's it. You made Petit Baguettes. Now let's give them a small test run. The crust is hard and it's very crunchy, the crumb is soft, and they crackle once you break them. I believe this is as close as you're gonna get to a Moroccan Coumir, the Moroccan name, without taking a flight and waking up at 6 a.m. Have them for breakfasts or snacks with some butter, olive oil, marmalade, coffee, tea, and enjoy.
And that was it. Make these at home, and if you need anything, just leave me a comment. I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Take care.